Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the 305th edition of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. I'm your host, Steve Wellings, and joining me on the call this evening, we have Ozzy Smith, Gabe Lewis, and Andy Patterson. Quite a few bits and pieces to get through, not for too long though. We've had a lot of Bellew of the Weeks coming over the Christmas period. 'Tis the season for Bellew of the Weeks, seemingly. Also, we'll be previewing the stuff next week, like Manny Pacquiao against Adrian Broner. A Matchroom card, Matchroom USA, that's the zone. Doesn't look too great, to be honest. We'll be picking over that. Maybe talk a little bit about Hearn, Crawford, Brooks situation. Gennady Golovkin, will he sign with anybody? There'll be different things that'll come up through the evening. But like I said, there's no real rhyme or reason tonight because we're just coming back after Christmas. Hope you all had a nice Christmas, Happy New Year and all those things. Yeah, we were frantically looking around earlier for a stream or a download of the Jose Uzcategui Caleb Plant fight as a collective, but unfortunately it's actually tonight, isn't it? So by the time you're listening to this, a lot of people, the fight will have taken place. We might mention it later on, but it's going to become obsolete pretty quickly. But yeah, we could go over it. We're also going to be dropping very soon a end of year review for 2018. We've recorded that already, and that'll be coming out within the next week or so. So talking about the Japanese fights, I believe me and Andy were talking about Masayuki Aito defeating Evgeny Chupakov, Kenshiro, Takuma Inoue getting wins as well. So there's no real point in going over that tonight. Also, Donny Nietes against Kazuto Ioka and Heki Butler. We discussed all that in the end of year review show. So keep an eye out on that and ear out on the Facebook page and also out on YouTube as well. Results from over the weekend, Friday the 11th of January 2019. Devin Haney, 20-0, defeating Zolisani Undunengi. I should have maybe practiced that one before we went live. He was 25-0. Didn't see anyone in this one. I'm sure the guys didn't see anything either. Vacant WBC International Lightweight title fight over on Showtime. He's doing okay for himself, isn't he, Haney? Over in Louisiana, this one. As I mentioned, Uzcategui against Plant as well. We thought we were going to watch that one, but it's not coming up until later on. Tell me something, actually, Ozzy. I don't know if you have any opinions over Christmas. We saw the one and only, our great friend Floyd Mayweather getting $9 million or whatever it was for about a round of action against this fella who is I can't even remember his name, to be honest, this kid. He got a bit of a beating from Floyd, from what I've seen. Just an overview, Ozzy, not necessarily the fight itself, but what's Floyd doing here? Are you happy to see these things going on? Is he making a bit of a mockery of himself? Might he as well just cash in when he can?
I wouldn't say he's necessarily making a mockery of himself. At the end of the day, we know he's a businessman and he loves the dollars and lots of dollars as well. So when these Japanese people contacted him, essentially offered him $9 million or whatever it was for a what's the word? But basically, just an exhibition. Why wouldn't he do it? He was against a guy who was 2 stone lighter, and basically he thought, I'm not going to work more than what I have to, and he destroyed him, regardless of it being an exhibition as well. So it doesn't really bother me. Like I said, it wasn't a proper fight. I think he was, whilst he got millions of dollars for the McGregor fight, I think that was more. That was stupid. It's weird to see that one of the best boxers in against a bloody novice MMA fighter. Whereas this, it was what it was. It was never dressed up to be a fight. It was always an exhibition. And he got handsomely paid for essentially, 120 seconds work?
Yeah, nice work if you can get it, I suppose, Gabe. Floyd's selling the windows. He's also selling people on the dream. He keeps on saying he's going to come back and fight various people. It's Tenshin Nasukawa. Andy reminded me of the name. Thanks for that, Andy. Do you think Floyd should have carried the guy a bit longer? Has he got any duty to do anything? If he's banking all this money, Gabe, buying all these watches, he can pretty much do what he wants. Where do you stand on Mayweather and Nasukawa?
I think he's paying off his tax bill. It was stupid. I don't know anyone that's a serious boxing fan that would have purchased something like that on a pay-per-view or whatever. I'm not sure how it was broadcast over in Japan. But I don't know. You'd think that since it was an exhibition and since he knew very quickly that he was head and shoulders above this kid, that he probably would have not tried to embarrass him. But I guess back to the responsibility. What are you there for? There's no real purpose behind it. So, the kind of person that he is, he always needs his ego to get stroked. So it doesn't surprise me at all that he went and just blasted the son of a bitch out that quick. But, I mean, what did you expect from this guy? Did you expect some sportsmanship, some kind of, positive, behavior from him? I mean, you see what he is, you see what he's done. So it shouldn't surprise anyone that he went and did things the way that he did. But it was, I don't know. I still haven't watched the whole thing. I saw little highlights of the knockdowns and saw the picture of the kid crying is everywhere. I mean, he got fucking embarrassed. But I don't know. I mean, you're getting paid $9 million. Go over there and give him a little bit of a show. I think it was scheduled for 3 or 4 rounds. So let it go on a little bit. You knew you were going to beat this kid unless he had some pop in his hands, but it didn't look, like that was going to be even remotely a possibility. So I thought he would carry him a little bit past, but it's just the kind of person that he is. So I don't know. I really don't give a rat's ass.
Yeah, another freak show in a sport of freak shows, Andy. He's fought Tenshin, he's fought Conor McGregor. Where does he go next? I mean, we could maybe see him boxing a panda or something. Maybe the ghost of Henry Armstrong. What other freak shows can Floyd pull out of the bag?
Don't know, mate. I mean, I dare say he's got a few options. I mean, I don't know if he's going to come back to the boxing. I think he's basically kind of confirmed that he's not going to do that. But I just think at the end of the day, he had a promotion there. That was it, Risen or whatever it was. This Japanese kid, he's like a 3-weight, either MMA champion or kickboxing champion. He's into like Muay Thai and that as well, I think. So obviously, it had a bit of backing, bit of push and stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised if you maybe end up seeing Floyd maybe box some MMA fighters in Russia, for example. I know he's got like a gym out there. He seems to be kind of pally with some Russians and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him do like exhibitions out there. Probably as well. I mean, you never know. I mean, there's the Middle East, for example. I mean, it's like the UAE. They've been trying to kind of get boxing shows in there for a wee while and stuff like that. Spoke about Khan fighting there. Remember the big heavyweight boy we had on all the years back, big Clarence Tillman. I think he fought over there as well. So maybe Floyd might want to kind of like venture over there and that money to be made. And obviously, I would say the Arabs would actually open their arms and bring him in. So it's a possibility, but I don't know what I've seen kind of like. Who's he going to fight, for example? I mean, it's just going to be like, it's like that. Remember, they had that WWE thing with all the old legends in Saudi Arabia, for example, where they're going to bring up fucking Floyd to fight who? I don't know, Castillo, Hatton,
Pernell Whitaker.
Aye. Fucking.
The thing is, though, Andy, about when it comes to Floyd, you mentioned Clarence Tillman there, and you make a good point, because I remember Clarence when he was on saying about Floyd, they're out at the club at night or whatever, they all finished up at 2 o'clock in the morning, everybody goes home, Floyd goes out for a run, and that makes me think of, he is the ultimate professional, isn't he? Before we mess about and we knock him and that, he has strived throughout his career. You have your Broners coming along, you have your Gervonta Davises come along, and they want to emulate Mayweather, but they only emulate one side of his personality. They don't emulate the disciplined side of Mayweather that we often don't see. This guy has kept himself in superb shape, and he's constantly been pushing himself. So I suppose it's time for him to cash in a way.
As well, yeah, I understand that. I mean, I don't know how many years professional it was, but he fought in that. It was well over 20 anyway. He's been boxing. He's been doing it since he was a young kid and stuff. Olympic bronze. You could cash in all he wants and stuff. I agree with Gabe. Maybe it's to try and pay off the tax bill. I understand he's no cash his checks for the McGregor fight and is it the Pacquiao fight? I can't mind. But end of the day, I agree with like Broner that I mean. They didn't really like live the life, It's all again, it's all mentality. Jimmy. I remember Jimmy Moore actually kind of speak about it once and that as well, especially trying to make weight, for example. Boxers find it hard as anything to try and make weight when they're fighting, but then when they retire, it's, food's not really a big problem for them. Weight's not really an issue after that. For some reason, Floyd always grafted his balls off. I mean, you've seen all the 24/7 episodes and stuff like that. Showtime, All Access, and that. He's just at crazy times. He's just dedicated. That is the proper word for it. At the end of the day, if you're going to end up making the money he's made, I don't care what sport. You got LeBron James, you got the baseball players, Messi, Ronaldo, and that. If you're dedicated, like Floyd's been dedicated, like these other guys, you make the money.
Talking of dedication, we've got Andy on the call. We've also got Gabe and we've got Ozzy. Like I said, we'll keep going for as long as we want to keep going. Floyd Mayweather, talking about 2019. What about the big rematch that everybody wants to see? Floyd Mayweather against Manny Pacquiao 2. The reason being, Floyd's still fighting, sort of. Manny Pacquiao is also still fighting. He's 67-2 now. I think he's about 40 years of age. He's up at welterweight. He's boxing Adrian Broner next weekend in the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Showtime will be televising this one. Also on that card, there are some interesting fights. We're talking off air, actually. There's a couple of decent fights on this. Rashid Warren is going in against Nordine Ubali for the vacant WBC bantamweight title. We give the challenger Ubali a big chance there. He's 14-0. Badu Jack as well against Marcus Brown in a decent fight for the WBC silver light heavyweight title. Bullshit belt, but it's not a bullshit fight. Like the look of that one, I think it could be pretty decent. Also, Jack Tapora. He's one of about 17 different WBA featherweight title champions. I think he's the interim champion, Tapora, 22-0, going in against the experienced Hugo Ruiz. So that'll be a decent opportunity to see how he's doing whenever he steps up in class, Mr. Tapora. And friend of the pod, sort of, George Kambosos Jr. I interviewed him about a year ago, I think it was, for Boxing News TV. He's 15-0, Australian, based over in the States. He's going in against Ray Perez. So let's see how he steps up against 24-10 Perez. Let's stick to the main event, shall we, Ozzy, before we go on to the undercard. Manny Pacquiao against Adrian Broner. Broner's quite flat-footed. He likes to plant his feet. He doesn't like to be rushed. Surely, if Manny Pacquiao is any semblance of his former self, Broner's style will be made for him, won't it?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's a reason they've picked this fight. I think there's a reason they've gone for Adrian Broner, and that's because he's ideally suited to someone like Manny Pacquiao. I mean, I think the last fight he was in the ring for Pacquiao was the Jeff Hearn fight. And I've got to admit, no, it wasn't at all. It was Matisse, and he absolutely destroyed him. He wiped him out. So obviously I wouldn't say he's active, but I think when was Broner's last fight as well? I'm just pulling up the record now. That was Jesse Vargas April last year. So it says it all when a 40-year-old Manny Pacquiao is more active than Adrian Broner. I can't see anything else but a Pacquiao win, to be honest. I just don't see what Broner can do. I don't think he'll stop Broner. I think for all that Broner gets some stick, he definitely has a good chin and he can take a shot. But I just think Pacquiao will have too much for him, in my opinion. And Adrian Broner, despite his ludicrous and audacity out of the ring from where he never makes weight, he balloons up. He's just a downright weirdo. I think he'll still keep getting these paydays, won't he? I think he'll still keep getting these paydays. So it'd be... I think it will be interesting. I don't think it's going to be like a 120, 108. But I think Pacquiao will have too much and probably win by 3 or 4 rounds, in my opinion.
Yeah, Andy, in his last couple of fights, he's 0-1-1 is Mr. Broner. Against Mikey Garcia, he lost in 2017. And then he had one fight last year in 2018 against Jesse Vargas that ended in a draw. He could be 0-2 in the court soon. He has these charges coming up as well. The PBC have been pushing him out of the limelight. I don't think he's done a couple of not press conferences, I think media workouts. They're trying to push him out the way. So even maybe Al Heyman and the PBC are sort of getting fed up with this guy and saying we're going to have to silence him, stop him from talking all this shit. How many realistically big fights can he have left? Because he hasn't really delivered in the big fights, has he, Andy?
This is it, mate. This is his last big chance. And, people are going to say, oh, it's wash Pacquiao. Maybe it is and stuff like that. But he needs this fight. He needs a name like Pacquiao and he needs a big win. I mean, obviously, Garcia, I thought basically pretty much, wouldn't say dominated him, but he definitely clearly was winning the fight. Vargas, who I just don't rate, he's a solid kind of probably B- level fighter in the division and stuff. He's always highly ranked in the top end of the organizations and stuff. But I just think, Pacquiao of old, I mean, I would have loved this fight. I'd loved this fight if Pacquiao was prime just to kind of execute this fucking sewer rat. I absolutely hate Broner. Everybody knows this, but I think he's still going to be respected. He's a thick guy. I always remember the way he dropped Sean Porter late in the 12th round, and he got dominated in that fight as well, in my opinion. He can be quite quick with the hands. He has got decent power. And if Pacquiao does overreach him, I think he could maybe get clipped with an uppercut. And it might just either kind of stun Pacquiao or could maybe even drop him, actually. If Pacquiao just, if he kind of gets greedy and stuff. But you just wonder how long Pacquiao's got left. At the end of the day, he had a tough fight with, with Jeff Hearn. And he was at the ring for over a year, I think, by that point, and then he comes back and he fights a washed Batiste. So, before that, the last time we saw him was Jesse Vargas. So really, Broner at this point really should be at his peak, but he's not. He's just fucked about with his career and stuff like that. So you just don't know as well. Obviously, you got the off-field, the outside things going on as well, but the 2 rape cases or whatever it was, sexual assault cases. So you just don't know if Broner's had a proper camp. I know he's been in camp for a wee while and that, but you don't know if he's been kind of deviating from it and stuff. Pacquiao, we all know his head's elsewhere sometimes. Is he fully fit? Who knows? But I would love to see Pacquiao basically kind of mutilate this guy, badly knock him out and that. But Pacquiao's not had a big knockout 147 in I don't know how long now. I need to go back and check. But I would like to see Pacquiao win the fight. I can see why people didn't want to see him win it. They want to see him retire. That, at the end of the day, he needs to keep fighting. He needs the money. And another bad knockout was just going to be it's going to push him out the sport. But I don't see Broner knocking him out. I can see him dropping him. But I think Pacquiao maybe shade it on points. I'll go something like 116, 112 to Pacquiao.
Andy, before you run off, is it all about Pacquiao's slippage? Because if you look at the Pacquiao who fought the likes of other stationary targets in the past, guys like Antonio Margarito, Joshua Clottey, the ultimate statue, even way back to people like Oscar Larios, Jorge Solis, guys who hadn't got that level of mobility like Broner hasn't, and he just toys with them. He would toy with Broner, obviously 10 years ago, but it could be down to Pacquiao's slippage as much as anything that Broner has to offer.
True, and how much has he got left in the tank? Really, can he like keeps no slippage, but can he keep slipping the shots? Can he well, obviously Broner, as you say, he's no active. He always kind of he sits off that back foot, tries to kind of look good, especially if he's opponent up against the ropes and stuff. But I don't think Pacquiao he's too savvy for that. I think if Pacquiao can keep the arms pumping the whole fight, he should win the fight easy. But you suspect, Broner's he has been in big fights. He's come up short, but at the end of the day as well, he's still got to be respected. He has got a decent dig. He has got a chin. I just don't see Pacquiao knocking him out. As maybe 10 years ago, he maybe done serious damage to the guy. But Broner's really kind of thick set. He's got a thick neck as well and stuff. So I don't see the knockout. But I could maybe see him potentially for a few rounds and that take a bit of a beating. But how prolonged and how sustained it is, I really don't know. I just kind of see Pacquiao sustaining it for over 12 rounds. I can see him maybe taking rounds off, move about the ring and stuff, and maybe just pop jabs, single shots and stuff like that, roll out underneath. But as I said again, I still wouldn't be surprised if you see him get clipped and maybe get dropped in the fight, just to kind of make it a wee bit kind of closer on the cards.
Yeah, if Pacquiao stands in front of him, there's a chance he could get clipped. Broner is tough, if nothing else. I don't think he's going to get blasted out. I don't think he's going to get dominated either, Gabe. I'm taking more losses than Scotty Calder when it comes to predictions at the moment. I'm on a bad run of form. It's widely known in the trade, people who listen to this, that I make some horrendous picks. I fancied Broner to be the heir apparent to Floyd Mayweather. That hasn't quite worked out yet. You never know. There's still time, Gabe. I also anointed the Charlos in their respective divisions just before Christmas. They showed us that that's not going to be the case either, I don't think. So I'm on a bad run of form, Gabe. With that said, I'm not saying Broner's going to win. I think Pacquiao will win, but I think AB is going to give him a better fight than some people think. And it's more to do with Pacquiao getting old and maybe not being able to get out of the way, as Andy said. I could see him maybe being dropped once, maybe even twice. I could see Broner having pockets of success and it being relatively close on the cards. What do you think, Gabe?
I don't think it's going to be that competitive. I don't think it's going to be that close, relatively speaking. I think it'll probably be, I give Broner probably about 3 rounds out of the fight. I think it'll depend on one big thing, his footwork. So, yeah, he's getting old. But, really his defense has never been that great. He's always just been able to dart in and dart out with quick feet. And I don't think his quickness has diminished as much as some people think it has. So I think what's going to end up happening is he's going to make Broner look foolish because Broner's not going to be able to move out of the way. He's got lead feet, which he doesn't move all that well, and he has to be set to punch. So Manny is going to probably move around him and just pot shot him all evening long. And I would really love to see him do the jab up the middle and then sidestep him to Broner's left and come with that uppercut right up the middle 2-3 times, depending on how quick he is and how much he can get it done. Because I think that'll be the key to him really making the fight much wider than what you're thinking it will be. I just don't think Broner's going to have that much success. I think they're going to have Manny ready to move, ready to dart in and out, ready to look sharp, and if he does that, it should be an easy night for him. Shouldn't have much problems. Broner's not going to throw unless he's set. I mean, that's really all you need to know. And if he does make it a close fight, good on him. But I agree with Andy. I think this may be one of his last chances to really sway the PBC to keep him at the forefront of their operations. Look, those guys are fucking horrible. Your prediction about the Charlo brothers, it may still be right. I thought that I'm going to go back a little bit to that stuff now. The matchmaking was all fucked up. The PBC has the worst matchmaking. Why would you put a fucking southpaw into a match with a orthodox guy in a headlining fight where you're supposed to have your guy look good? I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all. And then, the judging on that one fight wasn't maybe the greatest, but, they had set everything up. Everything was set. They just had poor matchmaking. I mean, the matchmaking was fucking awful. It's always fucking awful with the PBC. So, I mean,
You mean Charlo Korobov?
Yeah, I don't like that matchup. I think it's a fucking horrible matchup.
Yeah, but Korobov come in as a late replacement for Willie Monroe, didn't he?
They couldn't find anybody else.
What's wrong with that? If Charlo is anywhere near the level he says he is, he should be dealing with someone like Korobov, who's never really hit the heights, moving down in weight.
Yeah, I agree with that 110%. He should have dealt with him, but I mean, they build this event as a big show for the Charlos, and then they have these horrible ideas when it comes to how they're making the matches. Like, personally, I don't think it was a bad matchup if you're trying to show Charlo to be what you're calling him to be. But I mean, they're just all off. They still haven't even built anything. All they've done is take guys that were already at the minimum pre-established before that big time buy, and then they just pushed them to the forefront of this operation. You know what I mean? So they haven't built anything. They're just going off what they already had whenever they first were getting started.
I thought that the matchmaking, to be honest with you, wasn't great. Not from a stylistic point of view, Gabe. I thought Harrison and Monroe were pretty weak opponents, given the levels I expected the Charlos to be at. The levels that other people expected them to be at as well. I thought that they're even putting them in against these type of guys, particularly Harrison, to maybe build up highlight reel KOs of Harrison doing like he usually does, gassing out and getting knocked out in the 9th round. This shouldn't have been close by any stretch of the imagination. I don't care about the argument by the judges. Charlo shouldn't be in a position where he's going to the judges and crying over a decision against Harrison. I don't think there was anything particularly wrong with the decision, but he shouldn't be leaving it that close if he's at the level that he thinks he is. It's nothing to do with the matchmaking for me or the PBC. I think it was to do with the Charlos. They both look shit against substandard opposition, and I've reassessing my opinion of both of them.
Well, you're free to do that. I think you're accurate. I don't know that I was rating them as highly as you did, but I did think that they were going to be the guys to make a good run in their respective divisions. I still think they might. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do going forward. But back to the Broner card. They tried to push this guy to the front of the floor, and it didn't work because he's not what they said he was. He's not that good when you compare him to the elite top level people, and even B level people have beaten him. I don't really like Sean Porter that much. I think he's sloppy and crazy and looks a little bit trash whenever I watch him fight. Like, I don't like the style that he fights with. but he got, I thought, beat by Jesse Vargas. And anyway, even if he didn't, even if you can score that fight for Broner in that fight particular, I still don't see how you could call him that great of a shake whenever he went that far with fucking Jesse Vargas. I mean, like Andy said, he's constantly getting rated highly, but I just don't. I never have seen it. And I don't know. I don't think it's going to be particularly that close of a fight, to be honest with you.
Okay, Gabe, just sticking to the PBC angle, Ozzy, we're going to get this fight on ITV4. We heard last summer, I think it was, that Al Heyman was looking to come over and do some kind of deal with ITV. He's hooked up with Richard Poxon, for better or for worse. We're getting the DeGale Eubank fight towards the end of February on pay-per-view. What's this PBC thing going to deliver? Do you think we're getting the fight for free on ITV4? That's Broner versus Pacquiao. It's a little taster, isn't it? A little sweetener, just to introduce themselves to the UK market. I'm not looking at this as the way it's going to be going forward. I think they're looking to introduce pay-per-views, starting with DeGale Eubank. They're just testing the water. What can Al deliver? What can ITV and PBC and Richard Poxon deliver, do you think, Oz?
I think they're making a mistake not putting DeGale and Eubank on mainstream terrestrial. I think the ITV's experience of when they've come back to boxing was the World Boxing Super Series, and they just used that as an excuse to put pretty much everything on pay-per-view. I mean, I think we had like George Groves and Jamie Cox on pay-per-view, which it just seemed like they were in it just to make a few quid. They've obviously given this TV deal now, and I mean, yeah, they've put Pacquiao and Broner on for free. Plant is on tonight, which is on ITV4 as well, which is free. But they're American shows on at 3 a.m. in the morning. They don't have that interest from where people are going to pay for them. So I'm not complaining that it's free. Quite right as well. But the first UK fight that the PBC have put together, and Al Heyman and Richard Poxon, is a pay-per-view. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what they're looking to do, because at the moment, I mean, obviously, both Eubank and DeGale are out of contract. They're not with a promoter. So are they going to look to do that? Is Poxon going to look to build his own stable, sign fighters and use them, to headline cards, etc.? I can't complain about ITV being back in. What we don't want to do is them just to flood the market with more pay-per-views just because it's the only way they can do it. And then every American show they put on is going to be free. I think that is a mistake, and they should be looking at putting some of the UK fights on ITV4, even ITV1, because if you can get the interest in your product there and you can get the numbers, you've got an excellent base, better than Sky, better than BT, to then build your pay-per-views into huge shows, because people are watching these big-name fighters for absolutely nothing. You don't need to subscribe. You don't need anything. Just simply need to turn your television on with a signal and you can watch. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an addition of shows as well. I just hope we don't see any clashes or ones that can be avoided where possible. Already we're seeing one, which is DeGale and Eubank clashing with Sam Bowen and Ronnie Clark. So that's the first show impacted this year. And obviously you want to see the quality as well. I don't care if 50 new TV organisations and channels get involved, but if the product that they show is poor, who cares? It doesn't really matter. You want to maintain the standard and keep showing decent fights so the sport and the market doesn't become flooded and then people lose interest.
Yeah, hopefully anybody won't lose interest in us. We will be talking about the Matchroom card very soon. That could send a few people to sleep, unfortunately. How's DAZN going, everybody at home? Let me know if you're enjoying these fights. Maybe the American audience are starting to get a taste of some of the Saturday nights that we've been served up. Your Brook Zarafas, your Eubank Jetters. America's getting it now, baby. Anyway, Andy, let's have a look at a couple of the lower weight fights back on this Las Vegas undercard, Pacquiao, Broner. First of all, Roshi Warren against Nordine Ubali. I don't know a great deal about Ubali. He's from France. He's 32, 14-0 southpaw. 11 knockouts, shows he can punch. Hasn't really been against anybody other than the sort of faded names like Miranda, guys who've maybe been decent back in the day. But, fallen by the wayside a little bit, but he's getting this chance against Warren. I think he's got a good chance because Warren's lost to Pacquiao. He didn't like the pressure of Zakianov. He's a good fighter. He's a very good boxer, but he's maybe not the biggest puncher. So there, Ubali's a door. The avenue to winning the fight could be there for him. If he can lay it on Warren early, make him feel his punching power, I think the Frenchman could be in with a decent shot here.
Yeah, I agree as well. Warren, I've just never really been impressed with, actually, especially the crop at that Olympic squad that turned over, and that he was the one that's never really kind of caught my eye. You say the piano defeats. I think O'Bally is just a better fighter all round. I know he's been speaking with Roy Jones and that as well as part of his camp and stuff like that. So I don't know if he's kind of getting any decent info, good training out of that. But I just think he's a better fighter than Warren. But I don't know, maybe at the end of the day, the fight being in America might be all the difference. He is a PBC fighter at the end of the day as well, so that needs to be kind of stood up. But I just think having stopped, was it 11 knockouts I think this guy's had, the Frenchman. I understand what you're saying about some of the faded names and that, but some of them are quite a few tough Mexicans in that as well, as we're saying off air and that. So I think his power might be decent, but again, Warren can be quite slippy as well. So I'm going to go for a points win for the Frenchman. What else we got on the card?
I've got Jack Tapora, Andy. I'm interested to get your opinion on him. He's 22-0. He's from the Philippines. He's 25 and he's got 17 knockouts. Looking at the record, the knockouts, the amount of rounds and the guys he's been up against, plus his age, he looks like he's someone who could be coming right into his peak now. And really, if he can get past Hugo Ruiz, who off the top of my head, lost to Hasegawa, lost to Koki Kameda, Seiho as well, loses the big ones generally. This is a nice step up for Tapora, and if he can defend this interim WBA featherweight title, then maybe he can go in against the champion proper or something, see him in against a Santa Cruz, maybe a Valdez, a Warrington, because he needs that step up after this, doesn't he?
I think me and Gabe are going to fall out here because I remember arguing with him about the Koki Kameda Ruiz fight, and I actually had Ruiz winning that fight. Actually, that's a few years back. To be honest, Tapora again, he's one of the young Filipinos coming through. Not really fought anybody, but again, this guy's fighting. He's just never really kind of got the breaks. They say he should have beat Kameda to become a world champion and stuff, but it might be the right opponent from the right time. I think this is the type of opponent he needs actually as well to see where he's at. He's not really been as active as much as well over the last couple of years and that as well. So this might be the fight. It gets him one of these WBA trinkets again, but it might be a fight. To kind of break him out further into kind of the mainstream. Maybe get the bigger fights at featherweight and stuff. But you'd be looking at the likes of Warrington. Obviously, he's tied up. Valdez possibly. The Frampton fights possibly off the table and that as well. So and obviously we've got the Santa Cruz. When's Santa Cruz fighting again?
I know this. Let me see. He's in against another tomato can, isn't he? I think. Hang on, Andy. I'm just bringing up on the computer right now because he fought Avalos, didn't he? He fought the rematch against Abner Mares, and then they put him in against another lesser opponent. It's Miguel Flores, and it's on the 16th of February. It's another throwaway fight, isn't it, for Santa Cruz?
Right. I was going to say, because I think Tapora, if he's picking up that interim WBA title, he's going to be high up in those rankings, which I suppose Santa Cruz is probably classed as the WBA champ. So I would imagine that fight would come knocking at that point. But again, Tapora, I think if he picks up this belt, he's probably going to kind of like hold the horses for a wee bit in that as well until that fight gets called, because I think at this point in their career, Santa Cruz would absolutely mutilate him. Tapora's obviously nowhere near that level. He just hasn't fought anybody, any named fighter or anything even close to Santa Cruz's level. So I just can't see that fight getting made anytime soon. And I don't reckon who his promoter is actually as well. I need to try and find that one out.
Yeah, let us know if you find that one out, Andy. Moving up in weights, Gabe. I'm very interested in this Badu Jack Marcus Brown fight.
Pacquiao. I think he's Pacquiao.
Oh, is he under the Pacquiao banner then? Right,
sure he is, aye.
Okay, I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, to be honest. But anyway, Gabe, I'm liking the look of this Badu Jack Marcus Brown fight. A lot of people cooled on Marcus Brown a couple of years ago when he fought that Radivoy Kaladzic. He won a split decision, but a lot of people thought Kaladzic might have done enough to win. He's got decent knockout wins over the likes of Thomas Williams Jr., Shawnee Monahan, despite the record, was a hype job. Freddie and Taito, Lenin Castillo. He's done decent things, Brown. I think he's fast. I think he can punch. the thing is about Jack, he's a grinder, isn't he? He doesn't do anything brilliantly, but he does a lot of things well. He's got a good jab, good engine, nice left hook to the body. I am picking Jack to win, but I think Marcus Brown's speed and power early on might give him a few problems, and I am looking forward to this fight. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jack maybe go down at some point as well, Gabe, because Brown can punch. Are you buzzing for this one like me?
Maybe not as much as you, but yeah, I like this fight. I like the pretty much the whole card that looks like it's going to be televised is going to be good. You know, I will disagree with Andy. I thought Kameda won the Hugo Ruiz fight. I thought it was a close fight. I believe that the judges had it like by
stupid scorecards.
2 rounds to 2 rounds to Kameda, the ones that had him winning. But the last card, I believe it was a little bit wide for Ruiz. But Ruiz is a solid fucking fighter, man. I mean, this is a guy that like you said, he's lost when he's gone to the top of the line, but he hadn't been getting the shit kicked out of him. You know, I mean, it's not like he gets up there and he's exposed all of a sudden. He just loses fights that are tough fights. I mean, the motherfucker is tough. So I like Hugo Ruiz. I like the guy. I think that's going to be a fun fight. I think Rau'shee Warren is a good fighter. I think, like you guys have already said, he just likes a little bit of pop. But besides the main event, the one that I'm most excited about again is like you, the Badou Jack fight. I think Badou Jack's going to win the fight. I think he's defensively sound enough. I don't think Marcus Brown's going to have a whole lot of success, and I think it's going to be maybe not a thrilling fight. I think Badou Jack's going to control him with the jab, and Marcus Brown's going to struggle to get inside of that jab and to really make a big impact. But he is quick and he is strong, so there's always that possibility that he gets in and does some damage. Badou Jack is an interesting guy because he, like you said, he doesn't do any one thing spectacularly. You don't look at him and say, oh, this guy's got a monster left hook, or this guy's got this or that, or he's blazing fast and he can throw, 47 punch combinations. You don't have anything that you really point to with Badou Jack and say, this guy's amazing. But you really can't take anything away from him because he does everything so well. He's just a really solid fighter too. But I'm looking at this fight, I think it could explode, but I think my thought on it after thinking about how it could play out is I probably think Marcus Brown's going to get, maybe 4 rounds tops type of fight. So it's going to be not necessarily a close fight. I think Badou Jack's going to keep him under control.
Yeah, Badou Jack's going to keep him under control. Marcus Brown struggles to get on the inside, says Gabe. One man who never struggles to get inside is our man rapping Rob Kelly. How are you, Rob?
Happy New Year, folks. Is
Same
this the
to
New Year
you.
one?
Good to have you on. Yep.
I feel like, this might be my first one in the New Year. No, I wasn't on last week, so.
No, you were on our festive special, Rob, which people can find over on YouTube.
Exactly. So, how is everyone? Good?
Not too bad. Gabe's on, Andy's on, Ozzy's on, and I'm on as well. And now you're on as well, Rob, which is always good. We've got Pacquiao Broner. We're talking about, on the undercard, Warren, Tapora, and Marcus Brown against Badou Jack, which we all think is going to be a good fight. But tell me, first of all, Pacquiao Broner, what are you thinking?
Jesus, yeah. I don't know. It's one of those fights that, when it was made, I couldn't even see this being made. I couldn't see Broner giving anybody a fight at 47. I thought Pacquiao was kind of past it in terms of like these big money fights. I thought he'd just kind of maybe retire after the Matisse fight. Like, hard to know where either of them are because analysing it, like Broner has not had a good performance since Gavin Rees. That might sound harsh, but it's true. He hasn't had a good performance where he actually dominated an opponent since Gavin Rees. Malignaggi was a nip-tuck fight where he probably should have lost the Malignaggi fight. He probably should have had a point taken off that night. I don't know what was going on that night. He definitely should have had a point deducted. Close fight. Malignaggi couldn't break eggs with a hammer, so he had no pop to keep him off. Maidana took his soul. And then ever since then, there's been, who's he look good against? I think Taylor maybe. Sean Porter beat him. Draw against what's my man's name? Ian Whitney. Set that off that shit up. Like,
Rob, are you out in a fishing boat or something?
Might as well be, yeah. No, but I just don't think. Sorry, guys. Sorry, hold on. Let me find a bit of a shelter there. I just don't think. I don't think Adrian Broner's had a good performance in over 5 years, and Manny hasn't had a good performance in a long time either. Like, I think you could read too much into the Matisse performance as a kind of a comeback fight, because Matisse's his whole style is made for Pacquiao, like made for him. Like, he's never had head movement. He's never been able anything but a come forward fighter, like, and he was made for him. So, on a scale of things, I'd say Manny probably with the one-sided 12-round beatdown. But Broner's punch makes it interesting. Having said that, he hasn't hit anybody with that punch at 47 in over 5 years, so that's probably wishful thinking as well. I'd say a landslide Manny decision.
Interesting stuff. I'm the only one, Rob, who thinks that old AB is going to do anything decent. And we've asked the question to the guys, what do you think if AB loses this wide, doesn't look impressive? Are we going to see him wheeled out for any more paydays, or is that horse just bolted?
Probably, because Espinosa loves him, like Showtime love him, and he's able to sell a fight for some reason. Like, he's a social media king. That's important these days in terms of building your profile. But, like, performance-wise, he shouldn't even be in this fight. And it's the same narrative every time with Adrian Broner. He's training for this one. He's listening to his coach. He's putting in the work in that gym. When comes fight night, you're going to see the real Adrian Broner. But when comes fight night, we do see the real Adrian Broner when fight night comes. You know what I mean? And as much as I like him, I kind of actually warmed to his personality of late. I think he's devoid of talent to become a top level fighter. Like, and he's getting paydays strictly off his mouth as it is. Like, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets another fight. A grudge match with some fighter down the road again. Like, but this is a guy who, like, best win in the last 5 years is actually Theophane. You know what I mean? So that says it all really about where he is in terms of talent. Like, but the undercard, I like Badu Jack. Solid operator. I think I kind of caught the end of what Gabe was saying there, and I think
we like that fight, Rob. We like that fight.
Yeah, Brown should give him a right good fight. Like, I think Badu Jack just has the edge in terms of experience now at the top level. He's been kind of campaigning there the last 2 or 3 years around, and he's very rarely in a bad fight. And it just goes to show he's one of those guys that came back from a bad loss in his early career, to rebuild himself and put himself on the map as a world champion. So, do like Badu Jack. Again, not overly excited. Like, you can't get too excited about Badu Jack either, even though he's never really in a bad fight. It's not like you rush out to see him or you're going to rewatch any of his fights or anything. But decent, solid guy, like, and a good card, like. But I'd be tipping Badu Jack and Manny Pacquiao for the 2 main fights there.
Good stuff. Stay with us as long as you want, Rob. Andy, let's go on to next Friday evening. Quick word on this New York card. It seems to me like Top Rank are pretty much just putting out content for ESPN Plus, really, to fulfill contractual obligations. You've got Bryant Jennings in a WBO trinket fight, an IBF trinket fight against Oscar Rivas, 25-0, 17 knockouts. He's a Colombian based in Canada. It's going to be an inflated record, Andy. He's fought absolutely no one. Also, Shakur Stevenson, 9-0 against Jesse Chris Rosales, 22-1-1. Nobody else of any note is really on the undercard. Possibly Robson Conceição. I think he's one of those Brazilian punchers who could be one to keep an eye on. Other than that, Bryant Jennings, Oscar Rivas, Shakur Stevenson in a possible showcase. Is Uncle Bob just sticking them on, just like I said, to fulfill tele obligations?
Obviously, he's got a few of his prospects. Now, you say Robinson Conceição in Uzbekistan. Is it Guy Banzarov? He's 6-0 as well. Jason Souza, obviously, he's been over the course a couple of times. Dare say, might have another go at it. Carlos Adams, I've seen his name kicking about before, and I forget who he fought actually, but I've definitely seen him fight.
Do you think he's going to put Conceição in with Sosa if they both win their respective bouts?
Yeah, well, I suppose so. I mean, but the right kind of at this point in the career, I mean, they end up pushing Gamboa close, or definitely on the cards anyway. He lasted a good distance with Lomachenko by memory. I think he even went abroad and maybe even beat who the fuck did he beat? He was a champion at the time as well. Javier Fortuna.
Yeah, that was in China, wasn't it?
And did he know badly fucking slice up Stephen Smith's ear as well at the same time? But I suppose at this point, I mean, Conceição, to be honest, I haven't seen much of him at all actually since he turned pro. So I really don't know how he looks as a pro, actually, in all honesty. But I just popped up his record there. He's not even been scheduled in a fight over 10 rounds yet, by the way. So, over 8 rounds. So at this point in the career, it might be the right fight for him actually as well, considering it shows him might be on the back end, but you never know. Stevenson again, it's a bit like McCollum a wee bit actually. You can't really get with excitement a little bit. I didn't say it as a kind of hater as such, but again, I'm still waiting for him to kind of show me something. I just want to see him tested as well. This guy's fighting. I've never even heard of him actually. I know. Again, just put up his record. He got iced off Johnny Gonzalez.
Do you think, Andy, you're looking at the likes of Stevenson, Conlon, and then you juxtapose that with someone like Teofimo Lopez, and he's going out smashing people to bits, and he's jumping and he's talking shit, and he's really, bringing people on board for the wow factor?
Well, again, I mean, that's what you want to see. I mean, people go to boxing and see people get knocked the fuck out. Okay, good technical ability and good boxing skills is required at times and that as well. But I just think, like I say, you want to see a wee bit extra for like Conlon and Stevenson as well. But again, this guy is fighting. I mean, Johnny Gonzalez knocked him out in 2 rounds there, back in early 2017. Gonzalez is like, you know what kind of state he's at this point, and I recognise nobody else on his record and stuff. So you would think Stevenson's probably going to unless he caught that Simone guy, who's obviously been over the course a couple of times and that as well. Unless he catches them early, it's just going to be another pad in the record. Jennings, I really don't know about him actually. I mean, he's never been the same fighter since the Klitschko fight. And Oscar Rivas, I think I might have seen him once.
I don't even think I've heard of any of his opponents.
So, I mean, that last card he was on, the one against Fabio, whatever his fucking name is, that was on the undercard, the Gvozdyk against Stevenson.
Right, okay. And also regarding Stephen Smith's ear, I think it was Francisco Vargas who sliced that.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Was it that one? I got that one wrong, man.
Yeah. No, sorry. I was trying to think. I knew it wasn't Souza because that was in Monte Carlo, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was Francisco Vargas because the HBO crew, whoever had given Jim Lampley the record for Stephen Smith, they'd accidentally given the Stephen Smith who fought Ricky Hatton. So they kept on reeling off all these fights and it wasn't even the same guy. I just seem to remember that. Sorry, Andy, I've cut you off.
Yeah. No, nothing else to add in that card, mate. I mean, again, I dare say it's not going to be top of my list anyway, cards to watch. Talking about cards not to watch next Friday night, what about that Sky card that's getting put out by Eddie Hearn?
Well, you know what, Andy? While you're unmuted, let's get on to it, shall we? First of all, I'll read out a few of the fights, and you can tell me what is actually the best fight of the night, okay? We've got Jorge Linares going in against Pablo Cesar Cano. We've got TJ Doheny against Ryoho Takahashi. We've got Demetrius Andrade against Artur Akavov. Jarrell Miller against TBA. I saw Dave Lee tweeting earlier that the commission has rejected Jarrell Miller's opponent. So, goodness sake, I don't know if it was Michael Grant too, or maybe they're going to dig up the body of Andrew Galotta or something, but goodness knows anyway. And Amanda Serrano in a world title fight against Eva Voraberger. And obviously we've got Chris Algieri going in against Daniel Gonzalez with a view to Algieri maybe fighting Tommy Coyle. What's the best fight out of that lot?
I mean, the TJ Doheny, I mean, I think is that fight not just been recently been made?
Yeah.
So we don't know what type of camp the Japanese kids had. Linares against Cano was like, he was never like a world level in that at the end of the day, but I know he's been with a few good fighters, and I've been with Mosley, but I mean, when you get fucking beat off Paulie Malignaggi and you go to split decisions against Ashley Theophane and stuff like that, I think it kind of tells you you're definitely not on the world level in that. So I'm expecting Linares to basically kind of lay a beat down on this guy. He is generally durable, but I don't know if that fight against that Marcelino Lopez was absolutely a freak of nature. He got stopped in the second round or whatever and stuff like that. But I expect Linares, if he's got anything left or if he's still serious about being world champion again, to basically stop this guy. But I'll probably say it's probably going to be the female fight of the night, isn't it? Serrano against that Voraberger. I mean, I just went in and happened to look at Serrano's record. That she's been like a multi-weight world champion for like bantamweight or super flyweight. She's coming back down to super flyweight. She's been up as high as, what did we say she was? Light welterweight.
Yeah, bizarre, isn't it?
All over the place and stuff like
that. Serrano versus Furryburger.
Aye, Furryburger, aye. Chewing the Furryburger. But this is just typical Hearn card. I mean, this, all he's done here is basically put a couple of yanks on a card in America. I mean, all you got to do is just flip the card to the UK, put up a couple of UK fighters in it. It's a standard bog standard Sky card. That's all it is. Okay, he's got a woman's female, so he's got a female world title fight on there, okay. But he's got this other kid, the Irish boy, stays in Australia, who's like an IBF champ, but it makes a fight on how many days
a funny
notice?
one too. That's a funny one too, because I've been hearing rumours that Doheny is scheduled for that March card that they're going to pull out for Patrick's weekend with what's his name, King Kong, John O'Carroll as well versus Tevin Farmer and Doheny. They're all supposed to be on a card in March as well, so it can't be much of an opponent if he's going to be out again in 2 months. Like, so I don't know.
I can't even call that Andrade fucking Akavov fight a world title fight. I mean, Christ sake. I mean, Akavov, how the hell does he get a world title fight off the back end? What he's done. I mean, he's fought Billy Joe Saunders back in 2016. He's had 3 fights since then. And he's got a world title fight. It's just again, another fighter plucked at the rankings.
Andy, hang on a minute. Andy, you're being a bit disingenuous here to Mr. Akavov. Let's have a look at those 3 fights he's had since, though. First of all, he fought Jose Obando, who was 14, 13 and 1. And he won a split decision over Mr. Obando. So he'd obviously learnt a bit in those 14 wins. And then he fought Jean Carlos Prada. Stylish performance from Prada. He went down by KO, though, in Narva, in Estonia, 35-5-1. And then he won a unanimous decision in Riga for the vacant WBO international middleweight title against 12-1 Gonzalo Gaston Correa. So let's give him his due, Andy.
I'll not give him his due, because that Prada guy, that Prada handbag got knocked out off Diego Chavez, the one that was going to get lined up to fight Kell Brook in one round. Why
fighting in Estonia? That's what I want to know.
Oh, fuck. His last fight was in Riga. Can you could just see Andrade being bored with this fight. He carries it 12 rounds. You could see it. It does fuck all for him to. Even if he knocks the guy out, it does nothing for him. If he carries the guy 12 rounds, it does nothing for him. End of the day, he probably needs to fight Billy Joe Saunders, end of the day, but obviously that's never going to happen because of the politics and stuff. So, who else?
Do you know what I think's weird about Andrade? Whenever I was in Boston and he was fighting that Corton Dockware, that big robot who kept going down and getting back up again, Andrade has a weird style. Now, people have probably noticed this on the telly. He always seems off balance. He throws shots and then he throws his head with such an exaggerated manner that he's flopping around the ring. He had one occasion against Corton Dockware where it was almost a double knockdown. I thought they seemed to hit each other at the same time. Andrade was, like I said, he throws a shot and then he throws his head, this raggy doll hair going all over the place. He's such a strange, unorthodox style.
I kind of rate him, Steve. I'm just not bothered by him. He just does nothing for me. I mean, okay, he might be slightly talented. He just does absolutely zero for me. Again, as well as he's got like Danny Jacobs in there. Who else we got? Canelo, obviously that fight potentially could get made in that because he's with Hearn and stuff. But Charlo's is way. I just didn't see it. But Lemieux, obviously, I think he fell weight in his last fight. I think he's highly rated with WBO still, but I don't even know if they're going to leave him there after failing to make weight.
I don't want to see Lemieux fighting anybody decent who can box. Andrade would box rings around him, just like Saunders did, I think.
But Luke Keeler.
God.
He's ranked top 10.
Luke's a lovely fella, but come on, we're talking levels like in boxing, aren't we?
Jack Culkay. That was Zoiga actually was in the ring with the rollerblades on.
Andrade doesn't fight. I mean, hopefully now he's with Eddie, he'll actually start fighting people. But he was going to fight Saunders. That's not his fault. Ended up in against the African fella. But this Akavov, it's not good enough. If he fights someone else in a couple of months' time, I'll say, okay, fair enough, I'll give him the Akavov fight. But he's got to step up, Andrade. Not interested in any more of this bullshit. He went life and death with Vanes Martirosyan. He talks a lot, but he doesn't fucking fight anybody. He fought against Kulkai, then he took the rest of the year off. He needs to just start fighting people. I'm not interested in them just hanging around all the time. Put him in against Danny Jacobs. For goodness sake. Now, how long do we have to wait for a decent fight?
Unification fight. Get it made.
Right. Sorry, Andy. Anything else you want to add before we move on to somebody else?
Who else we got? Just that card. No, I'll just switch off for that one. Obviously got the one tonight, I suppose, and that. So, let me go.
Okay. Ozzy, let's bring you in then, shall we? We've gone over it, me and Andy. We've sort of depressed ourselves a little bit. Maybe you can add a bit of cheer into this card, Ozzy. Linares, Kano, Doheny, Takahashi, Andrade, Akavov, Jarrell Miller, Serrano, Algieri. Let's say that they get rid of these respective opponents, Ozzy. Where would you like to see each of them or any of them go after this? I mean, if it's building fights towards bigger opposition or bigger named opponents, then maybe we can let them just have this one in January and then move on to something else.
I think it's been mentioned for Andrade is to start getting him active again. I think it was all too often that we'd see him. He'd have a fight and then he'd go into the wilderness for 12 months. Then he'd return or after 16 months and have another one, and then he'd disappear again, or he'd have promotional issues or something like that. I mean, I think the card itself, I mean, there's talk that DAZN is struggling for numbers, subscribers, and when you see
even Canel's numbers were fucking poor, mate.
What I was going to say, when you're seeing shows like this put out, why is it a shock? Why are you going to subscribe to something to see like Andrade against Akavov? Jarrell Miller can't even get an opponent approved, which talks about the caliber of people they're looking at. In my opinion, female fights don't sell. They don't sell, do subscribers. Algieri, he's on the comeback after having, I think he was out the ring for 2 years, I think something like that. He went into a bit of a nutrition advisor, didn't he? I think he worked relatively closely with Danny Jacobs as well in
That's right, yeah.
2 or 3 camps. So he's on the comeback. Linares, he's being used. I mean, he's against Pablo Cano. He'll destroy him as well. So it's kind of a card where it seems more it's like a keep busy card rather than, the bigger fights. I agree with Andy that the biggest fight is probably the female fight in terms of, something that's meaningful. Akavov is a poor opponent. I mean, Billy Joe Saunders was 16 stone and lost, lost 5.5 stone in a short space of time and still beat him. Arguably, it was controversial. I was there that night as well, and I thought Akavov won the fight, but it goes down as a win. The Irish Dahoney, that seems like a typical quick turnaround. I think he only I think he only won the belt back in December or end of November, so he's back out straight away. And then if Rob's right, he's going to be kept busy again, and he's going to be out in March as well. So the card itself is poor. For Linares, I think he's staying. I think he's going to campaign at 140. So I would happily see him box the winner of the World Boxing Super Series. I think that'd be a good fight. Eddie Hearn has got Maurice Hooker. I'm sure that they can do a deal with Maurice Hooker, Jorge Linares.
Ozzy Doney won the title way back in August, actually.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, I didn't think. I thought it was more recent than that. Time just flies by, man.
Wow, God, God, I didn't realize it. It doesn't seem that long ago that it was back in August. I thought it was like October, November. Oh, right, okay then. Well, there's no excuse for this opponent then. I mean, there is no excuse. It's not as if unless he's been injured or something.
I think they're really trying to sell that Irish card in March for Patrick's weekend, and they're just keeping him safe. I think Dohany's story is a good one in that he turned pro in Australia, was an amateur over here, never did anything really amongst the great amateurs over here. But people always said he had something, and then just turned his hand to pro boxing in Australia, gets a crack at the world title, and it takes it with both hands. So I'd say they're going to protect him a little bit till they see where he's at and kind of try and build him, because they like his story. And Eddie, is going after bums and seats in the States, and they need a good Irish card now and then in a place like Boston to sell it out, you know what I mean? So just where it is, isn't it?
Who's going to be on that card?
John O'Carroll and Tevin Farmer, isn't it?
That's right. So they go
the rumours.
So is that going to be on a Friday night? It's going to be in Philadelphia, that isn't it?
Or is it Philly? Yeah, sorry, Philly. Yeah, so it's a city where there'll be a heavy Irish population, and they can get Carroll. They love Carroll in the States. So him versus Farmer is kind of the header. Donnie's on it, and I think Katie Taylor's on it as well. Katie Taylor, by the way, the only fight I want to see Katie Taylor in is against Amanda Nunes from the UFC. I think that's the only fight where either of them two can make anybody. But anyway, I digress.
And then, so I'm presuming that's going to be on the Friday then, because I think Michael Conlon is boxing on that Saturday, isn't he? As well. I swear Conlon's out that weekend for Paddy's weekend as well. I could be wrong. Anyway,
no, I think you're right, because didn't Bob Arum book out after his debut on Patrick's weekend over in the States was it the Barclays or somewhere? They'd booked out venues for Patrick's
New York,
weekend.
New York,
yeah. They booked venues in advance for him on Patrick's weekend for the next 2 years.
Right. But back to the card, Steve. there's not really much to say. I mean, opponents massively underwhelming, and I think it's best described as it literally seems like it is a keep busy card, kick off the year against relatively knockover jobs, and what you would like to see is big step ups. There's no reason why you can't see Andrade Daniel Jacobs next. Why not? They're both the same promoter. It will make a ton load of money for them, which is what they care about.
I'd love to see that. They could talk a bit of shit as well in the build-up.
Yeah, why can't that happen? What you don't want to see is Andrade then box 12 months against absolute pineapples who aren't going to throw anything back. It's absolutely pointless. Again, with Linares, there's talk that he wanted the rematch with Vasyl Lomachenko. So that's I thought that was interesting. I don't really want to see that again. To be honest, I thought Lomachenko was a worthy winner. It's interesting that he wants to look to overturn that loss, but I'm not really too keen. And just to finish, it seems that the Linares fight has actually been sanctioned now for a WBC eliminator. So for the belt held by Jose Ramirez. So there's some sort of carrot dangling on there for Linares. The win propels him up those rankings and closer to another world title shot.
Has that Juan Carlos Ramirez?
Yeah.
No, Jose Ramirez.
Jose Ramirez.
That was him who beat him, man, wasn't it?
Aye, because I was just going to ask actually, because he's, we were quite impressed. Well, impressed. He was in a decent fight with was it Imam? I think his name is, or whatever. But anyways, I just think he's only like. I know he's fought twice last year, and that, but I just think he's fighting Jose Zepeda next. I just think that's.
He is, yeah. Do you remember him? He came over.
Kerry Flanagan, aye.
Yeah.
Got unlucky with an injury with his shoulder popping out.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
Both are southpaws. Both are southpaws, and I think they're throwing overhand rights and that. And I think basically their arms got tied up, but you could just see his shoulder popping out. I think he dislocated it. Aye.
Yeah, I remember. I was ringside then. They tried to put it back. Tried to pop the shoulder back in the corner 3 times. His corner, because obviously it was a huge opportunity for him, and you could see the grimace on his face, because you've just got this like cut man being really aggressive, trying to force the shoulder and pop it back in. But
just talking about that, I don't know if Steve, if you remember actually Jean Pascal's fight against that Romanian guy. He fought him twice, I think. Is it Adrian Diaconou? Aye, I think it was the second fight.
The Shark.
Aye, his shoulder popped out 3 times during that fight, and in between, right, you can see him try to kind of pop it back in. The pain in that, man. Proper hard bastard.
Oh, was that the Diaconou fight? Aye. I remember it happening, but I wasn't sure against who, right?
I think it was the second fight with him,
Aye.
What's the situation with the WBC now then? So obviously you've got Ramirez and Zepeda who will box and fight it out. Then you've got Josh Taylor and Prograis. What are they boxing for?
Yeah, Prograis was the champion
title.
Silver title.
Right, so there's not an interim belt on the line. I didn't know if there was.
Because Prograis won the interim, didn't he, when he beat, was it Indongo, maybe? And then he got that interim belt, didn't he? And then he was supposed to fight Ramirez. They let Ramirez defend against Danny O'Connor. Danny O'Connor didn't make the weight.
He's diamond champion, Prograis.
Yeah, so he's world box diamond, whatever that means anyway. So does that mean then that the winner... Obviously, whoever goes on to win the Super Series out of the winner of Taylor and Prograis will pick up this belt, and then the winner in the final, will they then become mandatory for the winner of Ramirez and Zepeda? Is that the way it's going to work?
Well, theoretically speaking, yes.
Aye.
Yeah, but Bob Arum, I tell you what, you know yourself, Ozzy is the master of deception. He'll manage to get around it. He's become really overprotective, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It just seems a bit messy. I remember them making the interim title fight now for Prograis. Yeah, it was. Yeah, you were right.
That was in Dongo, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, what this diamond title's worth? Fuck me. Who knows?
We're getting dragged into the treacle of boxing politics here. Thanks, Ozzy. Also, thanks, Andy. Let's move on to Gabe on this same card, shall we? We've got a bit of Linares, Doney, Andrade, Miller, Serrano, Algieri. Gabe, what takes your fancy? What will really be getting you up on the next Friday night on Showtime on this Eddie Hearn card? Maybe you'll go to this card, Gabe, will you?
No.
It's only in New York, you fucking casual.
Yeah, you want to come over and drop me up? I'll go for it. Better come on fucking Monday, though. Let's see. I don't know. I want to see Jorge Linares again, and I suspect that he'll carve up Pablo Cano pretty rapidly. But he's probably my favorite guy on the card. I just don't care for Andrade. I don't like watching him fight. He bores me too much. And it's not to say he's not good. It's just I don't know, because there's certain fighters that I like that are very technical, and there's some fighters that I like that are very face first, and there's some guys that are in the middle that can do a little bit of both. There's a whole spectrum of guys that I enjoy watching, but for some reason, every time he's on and I put it on, it just, I don't know, it doesn't capture my attention. I don't know what it is. So I could give a shit less about Andrade. I really don't care for anybody else on the card. Chris Algieri on this card is going to be a cure for insomnia. I don't care for him either. Again, it's not to say that I think any of them are bad fighters. It's that they don't do anything for me. So Linares is probably the guy out of this group that I like the most. And I like Pablo Cano, strangely enough. Like we've already said, he's had some fights against some big names. Hasn't really done great in those steps up. But he's a solid fighter. Seems to always put on a good show. I haven't seen his last couple of fights, but there was a stretch there where he was doing some big business and looked like they were trying to put him in the mix as a contender. So this will be a good fight, I think, and given that Linares can be hurt, can be knocked out, can be carved up a little bit, I think this is going to be an interesting fight. So whoever gets started quickest and whoever has the best stamina is going to win this fight. And I think Linares is too technically sound to lose. But there's always that possibility that Pablo is going to come in there and go face first and maybe give him a hell of an evening. So to me, this fight out of the card has the most potential. And because they're probably the two guys that I like the most on this card, it's probably going to be the ones that I'm most excited about.
Good stuff. Thanks, Gabe. Finally to you, Rob. Let's play a little game, shall we, Rob? We were talking earlier on about Jarrell Miller's opponent being refused by the New York State Athletic Boxing Commission. So I've put together, Rob, 5 names who I think they might have put forward. And I want you to tell me which one you would prefer to see Jarrell Miller fight next Friday, okay? So who could possibly have got rejected out of these 5? Ty Fields, Paulo Vidos, Cliff Etienne, Danny Williams, or Mitch Blood Green. Who would you rather see Jarrell Miller fight out of them, Rob? We've got Ty Fields, Paulo Vidos, Cliff Etienne, Danny Williams, or Mitch Blood Green.
Well, Clifford Etienne versus Big Baby Miller would be an interesting contest from a bra perspective for both of them, because both of them had some nice racks.
Isn't Cliff doing a big stretch at the moment, Rob? I think Cliff's incarcerated, isn't he?
I remember Mike's speech after that, and Larry Merchant or whoever, Jim Gray, I think it was, asked him a question about the performance, and he was like, sometimes fighters just need each other. And Clifford is my brother, and he needed a paycheck, and we just got to be brutal to each other. And Jim was just like, oh, shit. I just asked you about the performance. Anyway.
Was that I broke my back? Was that the Cliff Etienne one, was it?
No, that was after one of the bad performances. The Cliff Etienne one, Mike was crying, and because he was helping out his brother to get some money, and he really liked Clifford Etienne, and Clifford was on hard times, and people, basically saying to the fans, don't be too disgusted that I just face planted Clifford Etienne, overmatched opponent Clifford Etienne.
So not Cliff then. We're not going for Cliff then.
No, only for the bra perspective. Cliff makes it interesting. Obviously, I think Danny Williams would probably beat him right now, so that'd be a good fight. And then Mitch Blood Green, of course, for the trash talk element. Mitch not afraid to drop an F-bomb in his day, let me tell you. Called Mike the F word multiple times after getting his face smashed up outside Dapper Dan's in Harlem. And of course Mike's telling the story about Mitch trying to jump through the window of the limousine and everything. Jumping up on the limousine would make it interesting. If the sport had a character like Mitch Green these days in the heavyweights, think about it, just a hard bastard, absolute shit talker to the maximum, a bit of a pimp, in a good way, not in an honest way. And I wonder then you're talking fantasy matchups like who has the best jump off of a limousine? Is it Larry Holmes versus Trevor Burbick, or is it Mitch Green versus Mike Tyson? So
Holmes, it's got to be Holmes, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's footage of that one, like, so we'll give Holmes the edge. But yeah, oh man, Jarrell Baby Miller, like Big Baby Miller. I've made my feelings clear about Jarrell Big Baby Miller a million times. Like, this guy is like you said, Shannon Briggs light, but hasn't even got half the talent that Shannon Briggs. Like, just a big oaf. Like, they're talking about the commission refusing his opponent. They should refuse him. He's 350-pound weight. Fucking hell, he's getting a license himself. Like, absolute joke. No interest in this guy, but very likely that he is AJ's next opponent when you consider that White has been coming out saying he's been lowballed. So realistically, folks, get ready for the American invasion. AJ takes the States. AJ versus Big Baby Miller coming soon. Log it.
Ugh. What about the other stuff on this card then, I suppose? The American invasion, is it going well for DAZN and Matchroom so far?
Interesting about Linares, he said during the week that his contract with Golden Boy is coming to an end, so this is his last fight with Golden Boy, I think. And he's looking for the Lomachenko rematch, as Ozzy said. I can't see Bob saying to him, come on over to ESPN and we make the rematch. Like, I think he'll most likely end up on DAZN, fighting the likes of the winner of this guy, this fight that he's mandatory for, and then Maurice Hooker and people like that. And I think he can probably beat anyone at 140, although the Prograis versus him is actually a great prospect of a fight down the line this year. Like, just from a styles matchup, young, hungry lion, strong guy versus a kind of more seasoned campaigner, pure technical boxer. But like, has Linares, like, I think he might have boxed out of his skin against Lomachenko, and I thought that was a right good fight, and I would love to see that again. Like, just from a technical point of view, love to see it again, even though Lomachenko is the clear winner. I don't know. I think that in terms of Lomachenko, in some of his fights, maybe against Campbell and another couple of fights prior to Lomachenko, he showed that he might be slowing up just a little bit, So maybe 140 might be a bit of a stretch for him against a guy like Prograis, but that's an exciting fight. But other than that, out of the landscape that's there and the fights on the card, like, shocking. But it's early doors for 2019. We've got some good fights coming, but we just have to get through this dross in the next few weeks, like.
Well said, Rob. Not too much moaning tonight. Maybe we'll moan a bit more next week when we'll be reviewing the Pacquiao-Broner fight, which we previewed earlier. Hopefully it'll be a good one for you. I'm not sure what's coming up over the next few weeks off the top of my head, but we'll be scaring BoxRec and having a look anyway. Rob's with us, Ozzy, also Gabe and Andy. Few questions then. Jake Winterbottom was in touch. This was on the night that Dillian Whyte fought Derek Chisora and Carl Frampton fought Josh Warrington on December the 22nd. It's more of a rant from Jake, really, trying to get this off his chest. He said there were 2 good cards on tonight, consisting of 8 or so good matchups. I've not managed to watch any of them all the way through without streams going down or buffering. And when the streams are up, you can't enjoy the fights as you're waiting for them to go back down. As a true boxing fan, says Jake, I feel really fucked off with the sport tonight, as in December the 22nd, because it's the true fans that are fucked over while cunts at Sky and BT line their pockets from the one-off casual money. Also, I'd like to add a big fuck off to that giant cunt Hearn for clashing the cards. Quick word from you, Gabe. And we haven't got your perspective on the Warrington, Frampton, and also Dillian Whyte, Derek Chisora fights, but if you want to throw in anything about that, but also what do you think about the fact that these 2 pay-per-views were clashing? You had BT Sports showing Frampton, you had Sky Sports showing Derek Chisora against Dillian Whyte on the same night, around £20. It's not a good thing, is it, when these TV behemoths are clashing on the night, especially pay-per-view?
No, it's fucking stupid. Number one, if you do this, you are intentionally harming the sport. I don't give a fuck about your money. I don't give a fuck about your allegiance to fighters. I don't give a fuck about your television stations. You're harming the sport when you do this because certain people are not going to pull numbers, even though they may have a great fight lined up. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that this was a great night of fights. This wasn't, Floyd Pacquiao in 2005. Against, another big name fight at the same time, same night. Like, these weren't 2 super fights that were competing. But they were solid. I thought solid enough. When you do this, you're hurting the sport because you're making people pick between one or the other And so the viewer numbers aren't there. When the viewer numbers aren't there, shit gets dropped. You can't put a show on whatever channel it is you guys have over there. You can't put it on Fox Network here, which is a free-to-air station, and have numbers drop to low because they're going to drop that show, whatever the fuck it is. It doesn't matter if it's been 15 years, #1 rated program. If it drops to a certain level, they're going to cut that shit. So you're harming the sport when you do that. That's number one. Number two is, do you not like money? Okay, so number one, I said, me personally, fuck your money. But number two is, don't you think that if you put your fight on a different date, you're going to maximize your purchases? You're going to maximize the number of buys that you get for your event. So you maximize revenue for your fighters and for yourself, your own pockets. Why the fuck would you do that? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's one of those things that I've always hated, is whenever you have two different cards on two different channels going nearly the same time, spread it out a little bit. You could wait for a week. You could put it a week ahead. There's always ways to go around these things, but it doesn't make sense to do it that way. Or come to an agreement and get the both cards on the same broadcast and go that way. Do something, mix it up a little bit. I understand there's always competition and guys want top billing because top billing gets them top dollar, so on and so forth. But there's a better way around it. I never have agreed with people with promoters that do shows at the same day and time as another event. Prime example of a fucking stupid, horrible idea is tonight with the Uzcategui Plant card is coming on a fucking Sunday night. There's going to be NFL football just ending by the time that stuff gets started. So the real issue there, again, is that who's going to watch that card?
Will they not get the lead in from that stuff, though? Is that what they're thinking?
I don't think so. I think it's a fucking horrible idea because it's going to be the evening. People are going to be shit ready to go to work the next day. Nobody's going to want to stay up and watch this card on a Sunday night. And then who fucking puts boxing on Sunday night? Who does that? No one does that except for this PBC group of dumbasses. So, number one, you're killing yourself because there's always all the other sporting events on Sunday. The big sporting leagues are always on Sunday. So you're killing it a little bit there. You're killing your undercard because it's going to, I believe, it's going to start at the same time that the NFC football game is going to be playing.
I've just found the game
to start with. Then they're killing it because people are going to be sportsed out. They've been watching football all fucking day, so they're not going to want to watch boxing. And then, like I said, who puts boxing on Sunday? So who's going to look for it on Sunday? Nobody.
Yeah, breaking news. Andy's coming in with something. Go on, Andy.
I was just going to find out there. I found out the next playoff game is actually on Fox. So is the boxing card. So obviously they're going to be doing promotion between plays and that on the NFL game. So I think you might be surprised. Because remember, it happened to Errol Spence, for example, after Olympics. It was shown on Fox, and then I think he fought, was it Leonard Bundu on Fox as well, so it led straight in. And I'm sure it ended up with the biggest figures that PBC had done since it started, I think.
Oh, maybe so.
It might be decent.
It might be decent. To me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I'll just put it that way. I guess going back to the original question, 2 pay-per-view events on the same night, worst idea I've ever heard. Completely garbage. Then this one, if it works, great. I'm all for it if it works, but I just don't see how it could work as well as putting it on a Saturday night.
It's actually impacted ticket sales. Ben was saying before that they're struggling to even give them away, and 2 or 3 fights off the undercard have actually been pulled because I think presumably just to save costs. So whilst it may pull in the numbers television-wise, ticket sales and footfall at the arena is extremely low, apparently. So, whilst it could work, tying it in with the NFL, I agree with Gabe. I think it's stupid, to be honest. To be, you're essentially going against the NFL, aren't you? And like I say, I know what a lot of people do. These are meaningful games now in the NFL as well. It's not just like like week 3 or week 4. These are it's to the stage now. It's the playoffs, isn't it? So yeah, I agree. I think it's silly to be going up on.
I'd like to get an actual idea on the production of dollars from viewership versus ticket sales for the people that are there live. Like, does I again, because I don't pay that much attention to all that shit, because it doesn't make a bit of difference to me as long as I get to see the fights, kind of situation. How much do they get from ticket sales versus from their viewer numbers? Do they get paid more or less based on viewership?
No idea.
I think that'd be interesting to find out. I don't know how any of that shit works, to be honest with you.
Okay, Gabe, right, final points of interest before we go on to Value of the Weeks. Christopher Lomax was in touch. He said, with ITV picking up fights like Broner against Pacquiao, is this the nail in the coffin for Box Nation? It looks like it possibly could be, Christopher. That's my answer to that one. It looks like it could be. Also, very brief comment from you, Ozzy, on a Liam Jordan comment. We were talking about British Fighter of the Year on the end of year pod, which will be dropping soon, as I mentioned at the top of the show. Liam Jordan says, even though I am a Leeds season ticket holder, I've resisted to jump on the Warrington bandwagon, but fuck me, I am in fully, says Liam. Where do you think British pound for pound Josh is at the moment, Ozzy? Liam reckons it's around 5th or 4th in the British pound for pound rankings. A word for Josh Warrington, he must be right up there at the moment, given the 2018 performances he put in.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100% in terms of, I mean, I'm not a big believer in these pound for pound rankings anyway, but I think if you were to list in terms of performances and at peak at the moment, I think Josh Warrington 100% is in the top 5. He's had a 2018 to remember. Fingers crossed he can just keep on going, because I know he's surprised, I think, probably 90% of people, the 10% being his promoter, his fan base, his certain fans, and his management side. I think a lot of people expected him to get beat and comprehensively beat off Lee Selby. And likewise, Carl Frampton as well. And he's upset the apple cart twice and proved himself to be a legit world-level performer. And the performances, that he's not pinched decisions either. He's been fully deserved of the decisions. And like I said, put in performances that a lot of people didn't think Josh Warrington had in his locker. So no, I'm just trying to think of the fighters who you potentially put up there, really. I mean, I'd rank him above the likes of people like Cal Yafai, who's a fellow world champion. I mean, I think Warrington's got 2 standout wins. Yafai doesn't have any. You've probably got to put the big guys up there in terms of Joshua, Tyson Fury.
Kell Brook dominating 154 as we speak.
Do you know?
His next opponent, by the way, is going to be AIDS. After what we got told,
Literally, he might box against AIDS.
I mean,
he is. I'm just trying to think out. I'm not even sure I would have Kell Brook. I'd have to write them down and think about it properly. I'm not sure I'd have Kell Brook in that top 10 for what he's done. I really don't see how you can. I just
disagree.
I mean, to go for beating Sergey Rabchenko, right? To have Eddie Hearn saying that you are now the number one 154 fighter on the planet, right? To go and potentially fight the guy that he's fighting next. Okay, he may be ranked in the top 2, 3 by all the organizations, stuff like that, but 154. Yep, at 147. So I think he's going to be hanging about here for a wee while longer yet.
Let's remember, his last fight was actually a final eliminator.
For his title, yeah.
For the title, and from what we've been told, he's having nothing to do with that.
He's fucking quite right as well, because he would end up with, he said two broken eye sockets. Well, he's going to end up with a jaw hanging on the fucking floor and the rest of his skull in a fucking sling if he fights this guy.
I just touching on it, I thought the performance of Hearn against Jason Wellborn, and where Wellborn, I'm not saying put it on him and cause problems, but he landed some shots and he went gun cold, didn't he?
Oh, he gave it a go to the point that Hearn says, "Fuck this shit, I'm going to just end this right now."
Yeah. Now, maybe it was a case of her just had no respect for him whatsoever and thought, well, you're not going to do anything. I wasn't so sure if it maybe gave the Brook camp maybe a sniff of let's go for it, but clearly not. And then it just makes the whole point of what is the point in boxing for a 154 final eliminator just to swerve it? What is the point?
Yeah, what's the point in Kell Brook? We'll maybe have a 2-hour in-depth discussion one of the evenings about that, shall we?
What's the point in Kell Brook, Steve? I think the Brown Mile could tell you a few stories there, like.
Stab in the dark, Andy.
Oh yeah, shot in the dark, no problem.
Right, let's move on to Value of the Weeks and get the hell out of here, shall we? We've done, we're just easing ourselves back into the new year, getting back into training, dropping a bit of weight here. We've done a bit of sparring tonight. We'll hopefully be back up to full strength and full speed against next week. Don't forget to leave a review on iTunes. Give us a bit of abuse if you want. We're not getting as much abuse these days, Andy. I think people have gone a bit soft, to be honest with you. We need the shit talkers to come back.
I don't know, mate. I think the shit talkers are either getting banned off internet or they're just washed. But no, you get the odd people coming here and there.
Yeah, well, like what's my man's name that said tell Jay-Z to stop saying like.
Oh yeah, no likes for you tonight, Rob.
So it's you like
dislike.
Yeah. Anyway,
hey Rob, you need to get Jay-Z a phone, mate, and get him on the pod.
I'll have to see. I'll have to make a few calls. We could definitely get some of the Rockefeller crew in there for all the lovers of hip hop culture out there. Yeah, fuck that shit though. But but if you don't like us, so what, dude? You know what I mean? Who gives a shit really? Like, get on with your life.
Well said, Rob. Well said. Okay, let's go on to Value of the Week and then we'll finish up. I've had enough for tonight. We've got quite a few though. If you've got any, feel free to throw them in at some point. Let's get on with it. He says, as he frantically tries to bring them up on his phone. First one from Samuel. Our friend Sam Against the Ropes Boxing nominated Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar was going in on pay-per-views. This is the end of pay-per-view, says Oscar. Forgetting that he put Liddle against Ortiz. I think it was like UFC or MMA on the other day. Let's get rid of them, he says, apart from the ones that he's running, of course. Chad Hogan, a.k.a. Brian King, still about. He's nominated Dave Caldwell for talking about Lennox Lewis's fights against Riddick Bowe. Sean Stevenson has nominated Property Expert. He's an expert in property, but not in boxing, it would seem. Happy New Year, Spencer Fearon, says Property Expert. No. And the toe-to-toe team, Andy. Your insight and knowledge has really sparked my interest in boxing. Plus, the positive energy you emit is much welcomed in the world of boxing. We haven't heard from Spencer in a while, but the Property Expert is quite pleased with his work anyway, Andy, even if you're not.
Property Expert is clearly a plant because, put it this way, is use that keyword, knowledge. Tells me that he's fucking at it. He's fucking ball. Spencer Fearon is a fucking parody of himself, man. It's incredible. Some people actually take him fucking seriously sometimes.
He is a parody, old Spencer. If you're listening, Spence, you're welcome. Come on with us. Also, Dave,
I would love to get him on the pod, man. I fucking love to get him on the podcast.
That would be the end of us. That would be 3 strikes in one night. Rob.
What? I would love it. I would love it if we beat him now.
Honestly, Christ, I would have my fucking. I'd go to Blizzard Glory, by I'd break it up.
Never come on. Never.
You don't know. Stranger things have happened.
We welcome him. We will welcome him to the pod for sure.
Right. Anyway, Jaffa2388 was talking about our friend David Allen. Apparently, my missus says I like you too much, says Jaffa. Okay, boxing fams. Here's my Boxers of the Year. Boxer of the Year, says Jaffa. Dave Allen. Balls of the Year, Dave Allen. Man of the Year, Dave Allen. Upcoming Fighter of the Year, Anthony Fowler. David Beckham. Daniel Beckham even. Not David Beckham. Maybe we'll get him on the pod. Daniel Beckham has nominated Jaffa for that one. Chad Hogan has nominated Lee Wiley at Lee Wiley Boxing. So do you want to know who invented the body jab, says Lee Wiley? Why, it was Harry Greb, of course. Here he is subtly feinting upstairs to create an opening and then dropping one under Philadelphia Jack O'Brien's guiding right hand. All the best for 2019, says Lee Wiley. He's a bit of a historical aficionado, I suppose. Nomination for Tyson Fury, sent in by proxy of the ghost of Scott Law. 2018, the year that Tyson Fury said he would give £8 million to the homeless, then didn't. A truly spectacular lie that will no doubt be kept under the same rug as his ban. Scott Law wrote that. Someone, I can't remember who nominated Tyson.
Can I just say something, by the way, right?
Yeah.
See if your husband gave it. so what? See if he hasn't gave it, so what? But I'll put it this way: see if he has gave it, maybe he's got a disclaimer signed that there's no publicity. Because I've heard a lot of people within the industry say that Tyson Fury's done a lot of charity work, and it goes under either under the radar or it doesn't get reported. So I would hold off on that. But it is, to be honest, it's a shitload of money to give away to keep quiet. By the way, because that's the type of money that would cause a lot of fucking ripples for a lot of charities. By the way.
Yep, the plot thickens. We don't really know about that at the moment. Vince Cummings has nominated At Highfield Boxing. After all of that, Floyd Mayweather showed he's still the most relevant name in boxing, despite being retired for ages. Good nomination, Vince, but we did open the show talking about Floyd Mayweather against Nasukawa, so maybe Floyd is pretty relevant. Good nomination for Highfield Boxing anyway. Declan Graffin has nominated an eternal nomination for Nez of the Boxing Voice for saying Lomachenko should retire. He said, Andy, Lomachenko should retire because there aren't any fights left for him.
See, Ness, I've actually listened to his podcast once for a total minute of 20 minutes, and he did nothing but slag off Chocolatito when he was in his prime for those 20 minutes. The guy is fucking a bum. He is a grass. He's a drug dealer, and he fucking bailed on his mates to save his own fucking arse because he didn't want to do the time. He's a fucking grass. So I'm going to go for Ness right now.
Shout out to Ness. DAZN USA were tweeting away on New Year's Eve. If you play Neil Diamond's Sweet Caroline tonight at 11:58 and 54 seconds, you can chant ba 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 right as the clock strikes midnight. Start off your new year right, says DAZN USA Twitter account. Woolly Skull with a very worthy nomination. Also, this is a good nomination. This is for T Street Controversy Live. I love this guy. He's over on YouTube. He makes daily videos. The guy's absolutely bonkers. But he put up, in between, he broke away from his boxing videos to put up a video last week that said, may have to go to jail 90 days to save suffering. And he went on for about 2 hours talking about his court situation, about his access to his children and all this type of stuff, and he put up as the photo a picture of the Philadelphia family court where he'd only given them 1 star on Google reviews. He's an absolute car crash. He's brilliant. So T Street Controversy Live, yeah, he's a good guy. So the Philadelphia family court apparently has been dealing some knockout blows to old T Street. We'll nominate him for that. Declan Graffin has nominated KO Boxing 247. Looking forward to seeing Spike O'Sullivan pick up a world title or two in 2019, says KO Boxing. Would love to see him in with David Lemieux again and have another go.
Listen, when David Strongman G-glorified fucking Lapu, as some people you would call him, fucking knocks you out in what, 1 round, was it?
Yeah.
I know just fucking knock you out, like rewire your brain.
I used to with the first punch.
Fucking hell, man.
The first punch he hit with. Bam. That was brutal knockout, by the way.
It's not happening. It's just fucking stop this shit. You know, seek help.
He might pick up a world title or 2 in 2019.
What one? The WBU or the fucking BF or something?
IBA.
I like Spike. Like I like the guy. Like, but he got stopped by Eubank as well. You know what I mean? Let's be real about it. Like, he's not going places. God help him. But look, he's a good guy. Fair play to him.
No, he is a good guy. A nomination here for IFL TV from Fergie. Vote now for your IFL TV Fighter of the Year 2018. And some of the names on the list: Tyson Fury, Josh Warrington, Charlie Edwards, Rocky Fielding. Yeah.
What?
Katie Taylor, Anthony Joshua, Josh Taylor, Callum Smith, Dave Allen,
What?
Tony Bellew, Dillian White, and Jack Cattrall are some of the names being thrown out there. Conor Benn has been nominated by Joe Lands. He's been calling for a shot at Johnny Garton, the British champion. Also, Jez Smith has got involved. Give it a rest, Conor. You just about beat a French road sweeper. Pipe down, mate, says Conor. You're not even ranked in the top 10. I know you're fishing for a reply, but I will block you if you carry on. So nomination for him. Brian McFadden, he has a blue tick, so he must be important. Who's next?
Sing about guys, don't know.
Oh, is it? All right, okay. Anyway, TalkSport, we're talking about the Mayweather Tenshin fight, and Brian McFadden jumps in and says, who's next, Katie Taylor? She would batter this fraud. Yeah, Katie Taylor to batter Floyd Mayweather. Who knows? Brian McFadden's on board anyway. Chad Hogan has nominated Boxing Fan USA for bigging up the boxing kingdom as a verifiable boxing source. Jeremy Hitchcock has nominated the WBO. There's a big massive billboard been put up somewhere, I'm assuming in Serbia, on Instagram by the WBO of Predrag Radicevic. He's returning soon. in a WBO Intercontinental title
Liam
fight.
Smith beat him, eh?
I was just going to say that, Andy. Yep, you might remember him getting knocked out by Liam Smith. They've got the billboards out in Serbia. He's back, baby. Predrag Radicevic. He's got a big trophy in the picture as well, so looks like this could be pretty important.
They've got the billboards out in Serbia. They should get the fucking shooting squads out again in Serbia, by the way, and end that career straight away. Fuck me, man. Jesus Christ. Radicevic, I mean, that sounds quite Bosnian, by the way. Might even be a Bosniak. I take him into the fucking air.
Moving on swiftly.
Start the epic question again.
moving on. Chad Hogan has nominated Jimmy Iashman. Jimmy Iashman says, January 2019, let's put up my best pound-for-pound boxers. This is one hell of a list. So he gives his top 13, obviously, top 13 pound-for-pound boxers. And he has Naoya Inoue at number 1. He has Errol Spence Jr. at number 2, Terence Crawford at 3, Manny Pacquiao at number 4, Wanheng Menayothin at number 5, Vasyl Lomachenko at 6, Gennady Golovkin at 7, Mikey Garcia at 8, Luis Neri, obviously, at 9, Tyson Fury at 10, Sorung Vizai at 11, Miguel Bachelt at 12, and Alberto Machado at 13.
Fuck's sake, man. But is he, honestly, God, has he been snorting tequila or some fucking shit?
He's been smoking the Menayothin, I think, man. Jimmy Iashman.
Jesus Christ, man. He's definitely been smoking the fucking crack and snorting the fucking tequila. Fucking hell.
You're a casual if you don't have many often ahead of Lomachenko when your pound for pound rankings. Fucking casual.
Fucking hell. I mean, okay, Menayothin's records, okay, not to be. I'm going to say no to be sniffed at. It's 50-0 or 51-0, whatever it is, but he's not fought anybody. Quality does fucking beat quantity at the end of the day, you know.
Call the firing squad's over for a second job, Andy, after they finish with old Predrag.
Yeah, old Slobodama got that sorted out in a heartbeat, by the way. Get Arkan out the grave as well, he's sorted
right. Right. Yeah, I don't know how many listeners he had in Serbia, but maybe not too many now. Right, anyway, John Kearns has nominated Frankie Camp.
But I'm trying to get Slave. I remember slaving for the forum days and that he stays in Norway, right, and he's a Bosniak. So his family got chased for fucking the Serbs. I used to wind them. Fucking Tommy says to him, Tommy wound them up one day and says to him, here you, shut your fucking mouth. I'm going to dig up your brother and throw his body at you.
Fucking hell. Oh, dear.
I know it's bad, eh?
I thought Tommy might be coming on tonight, actually. He seemed like he was coherent.
Aye, but he wants to come on Michelle Phelps, doesn't he?
Right, okay. Anyway, John Kearns has nominated Frankie Camp. Frankie Camp was using Dave Allen's knockout over Nick Webb as an example how anything can happen in boxing, and maybe Khan could beat Crawford. So there you go.
Nick Webb. You just said it all. Nick Webb.
Very similar to Terence Crawford in defence. Nick Webb.
Andy, that's sorry, Rob. That's Frankie Camp 27, showing that anything's possible in this game. You know.
Well, yes, yeah. Well, if that happened, I suppose it is. Jesus Christ.
Michael Benson says the Khan Brook Crawford situation is an odd one, but you can't duck Kell Brook to fight Terence Crawford. That's just not how ducking works. Says the Oracle Michael Benson. Andy Clark jumps in and says, in this case, it's exactly how it works. James Bairstow.
Andy Clark being the company of the man there.
There you go. Chad Hogan has nominated Dave Caldwell. Dave was bigging up Jake Wood and Spencer Oliver's live tour, and he then deleted the tweet. I'm not really sure what was going on there. Maybe the tour's not going ahead. Don't know. Anyway, Newbie has nominated Dillian White for talking to Kugan Cassius. Kugan said Eddie is in Benidorm. Dillian White said, I don't even know where that is. You need money to go to places like that.
She's a millionaire, eh?
So there you go. Jay King has nominated Hearn. I think it was Barry Hearn. Joshua's most dangerous opponent is White, not Fury or Wilder, says Hearn. That was in the Sun. Sam again from Against the Ropes has nominated Dillian White talking to IFL. Double nomination for Dillian. When asked about fighting Usyk, Dillian said, no one knows who Usyk is. Imagine trying to sell that one to the general public. Oh my God.
Oh, fuck.
There you go. Good old Dillian. Barn Dog's nominated L. Hamlet for talking about Usyk again. Don't think he beats Dillian White. Yeah, AJ, what was he up to? Driving around with orangutans on a golf caddy.
That was brilliant. That would have been fucking brilliant if they fucking crashed and that, and started shagging them and that. That'd be fucking brilliant.
That was a little bit bizarre. Yeah, no idea.
Yeah, did you notice him kind of rope running behind the cart? Like, what the fuck's all that about? Is he the Arrow version of Clint Eastwood in Line of Fire or something like that?
With Clyde.
well, put it this way, right? If his fight, put it this way, if his fight with Big Baby Miller gets made, then there might be proof that sleeping with orangutans is AIDS. It's just a theory.
Yeah.
Just a theory.
Thanks for that, Rob. Donny, who's not on tonight, has nominated Joel Grizzle. Talking about Hearn and Kell Brook. I'm losing my voice a bit here. I'm out of practice, you see. I haven't been living the life over Christmas. Declan Graffin again has nominated Jarrett Hurd. He said that he's fighting David Benavidez, but he got him mixed up and called him David Beterbiev. So a bit mixed up there. Editing King has nominated Scott, NEJ Scott, who's talking about Usyk. He's beaten no one. It's a poor divisions, the cruiserweights, according to Scott. I think that's them all. I'm just looking through them now. Yeah, strong lineup. Go on, Andy.
Dillian White for ducking basically odds under Usyk by saying nobody knows who he is. I agree with what Bunch said during the week there, actually, because there's going to be a lot of fighters coming up shortly, actually, especially probably even the heavyweight, who are going to be making themselves to be made to look stupid by ducking Usyk. And I've read as well, I don't know if this better will be true actually, but it's just typical Eddie Hearn, especially. I really don't know how much of an input that Hearn's got with Usyk, right? But he's talking about Usyk fighting potentially Lebedev or Beterbiev next at cruiserweight. None of these fights excite me, and that's a typical Eddie Hearn move. Lebedev who shot the shit, or got a weird guy in Beterbiev to come up and wait.
Do you know what he might do? Lebedev wasn't his fight in Monte Carlo effectively over the cruiserweight limit and up into heavyweight. Maybe he could have Usyk making his heavyweight debut. You couldn't sell that, could you?
Nah, you couldn't sell that, mate. At the end of the day, well, the WBA title that Lebedev holds is the one that he'd refused to put on the line against Gazaev or something like that. Or there was something, and it's an absolute fucking farce that he still holds that title to this day. End of the day, there's only one clear champion at the weight that matters, and that's Usyk. He's got all the belts. He is the man, and Lebedev is washed, finished, and should retire. Nobody wants to see that fight, man. And it's absolutely pitiful that Eddie Hearn put. I mean, look at his last fight. It was fucking shite on that Eddie Hearn card. Was it Monte Carlo?
I didn't even see it.
I didn't even watch it either. Yeah, I'm still saying it was shite.
Gabe, any nominations from you, sir?
No.
Ozzy, anything from you?
No, nothing from me.
Rob, any nominations before we wrap up Value of the Week?
Oh, yeah. Never let you down, Steve. I don't know if anyone caught Rogan and Kelly Pavlik this week.
No, I've got it downloaded though. I will listen to it this week sometime.
It was really good. Like, and Pavlik's a really honest guy. Like, but Pavlik said he's wanting to come back and just give him serious consideration at cruiserweight. Yeah, and he fight anybody except Usyk. And then went on to say, well, you know, the Adonis Stevenson thing does kind of make you rethink and kind of talk himself out back into retirement again. But Rogan, like, for a guy like, and I like Rogan's podcast, like, I think it's great, like, but when he talks boxing, like, he knows boxing shit, but he's so off with it. Like, he said, he said, you know, Gerald McClellan reminds you of Gerald McClellan and Roy Jones. You know, Roy was beat up pretty bad over what happened to Gerald McClellan. You know, for a long time, it seemed like they were on a collision course to fight. Gerald was the light heavyweight champion, and Roy was campaigning at 168 as the what?
Roy said that fight would never happen. Roy said that fight would never happen.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. He's just talking shite. Like, but then he said the fight that really made him pay attention to Lomachenko was the Rigondeaux fight. Like, you just look at that. That's the smaller guy. What are you talking about? Like, it should be the Linares fight, if anything, like that. What are you talking? Like, he just talks shit. Like, but he asked then Kelly Pavlik about it. It was a real funny one. He was like, I hear you got into the podcast, Kelly. And he was like, yeah, we're giving it a go. And he was like, so how many views are you getting? And he was like, sometimes we get views up around 113. And he was like, sometimes then he goes in the next breath. He's like, and sometimes they're so low I don't even want to say. I was like, oh shit, 113 is the big time. So we
You
need
should
to get
come on
Kelly
with us.
the pod. Yeah, exactly. We need to get Kelly as a regular panelist. Rob Kelly, Kelly Pavlik. But he was good on it though. He was good. He gave his. He said he was sick before the B-Hop fight, but still got his ass beat and all that. Like, so he was good. He was good. But then, again,
I'd be sick after the B-Hop fight as well.
He was great
Yeah.
value, Rob, wasn't he, Pavlik? He was
it's a great
value,
fight.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, he only lost to B-Hop and Sergio Martinez, so there's no shame in that. Like, and he had some great nights along the way. So, but it's 113 views. Like,
I don't even remember the Sergio Martinez fight. Jesus Christ, when did that happen?
He came back down a weight after the B-Hop fight, and I think he had a win and then fought Martinez, and he said he was finished like halfway through the fight. He hit a wall, and he was just like,
Martinez news. I didn't even know about that fight. There you go. There's one on me. Well, maybe I've forgotten. Anyway, yeah. So
Pavlik was that guy that apparently brutally chased people out the gym. He was that good as like a young fighter coming through before he made his mark in the pros.
I had the pleasure of seeing him live. He was on the undercard of Hopkins De La Hoya in Las Vegas. I can't remember who he beat, but I was there, and he was an excellent fighter. Very, very tough.
Yeah.
Massive middleweight day. Massive middleweight.
Right, so we've got quite a few nominations, Andy. Could be Oscar, could be Dave Caldwell, the property expert as well. We had Lee Wiley boxing, just to name a few. Highfield, who are you going for this week?
Top three for me in order. I'll go for Oscar, number 3, pay-per-view. Nestle Grass was going to get my number 1 vote until for his comments for Lomachenko, until AJ came into the picture with the fucking orangutan in the golf cart. That was just absolutely fucking brilliant. All you wanted to see happen was those orangutans just like go like ecstasy mental and just fucking grab the steering wheel and crash the fucking thing, and there's bodies flying out of the place. There's fucking carnage and that. There's fucking oranges all the fucking gas. Oh, it'd be fucking brilliant.
It looked like the kind of a plot of an 80s PG action movie with AJ as the star. Didn't it?
No, it wasn't it. It was AJ making the reenactment of Mark Wahlberg's Planet of the Apes.
As somebody said to me, though, if you saw Tyson Fury doing that, you'd have the animal cruelty people up in arms.
Aye.
I'd be wait. But the only thing is, if Fury did it, everybody would love it.
WWF, because you know why? Because Fury would have one of them on his fucking neck or something like that, sitting behind his fucking head. He'd probably have another one sitting next to him, fucking smoking a cigar. One at the back with a bottle of Dom Perry, another one with a fucking bottle of brandy. Fucking
boys all playing Return of the Mac, going around the place. It'd be way better if Fury did it.
Andy, when you said WWF, I was thinking of the old bloody wrestling. Then I was thinking like Ultimate Warrior wrestling.
No, I'm talking about the pandas and that, mate.
Anyway, Rob, we've had a few. We've had T Street dropping in the Philadelphia Family Court. What about KO Boxing with Spike? We've had IFL TV. It's quite a strong lineup.
T Street is good. I like my man T Street. But yeah, the golf cart was pretty high the top. Like, fuck me. That picture, like, where did that come? Like, what was going on? Like, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know if I'm ready for the answers to these questions.
Exactly. How the fuck did he become in a golf cart with how many orangutans? 3 or 4 of them.
You know what you should do, AJ, mate, to boost your profile? It's just fucking weird, like.
Rob, your next rap video, we need you paragliding out of a plane with a kangaroo.
I'm after having a few orangutans in my videos already.
So we've got two for the golf cart. Then it's a pretty strong entry. Aussie. What about Pedro Radosevich or Jimmy Ashman? His top 13 pound for pound was pretty strong.
No, I'm gonna go for DAZN and their how to celebrate New Year's by playing Neil Diamond's Sweet Caroline at what was it,
11:58 and 54 seconds.
Yeah, so it's the fact that somebody has thought this is a good idea. I'm going to play it, and they played it probably from 58, and tried to time it perfectly. So somebody's wasted time doing that just for the game. So I'm going for DAZN. They need a bit of happiness in their early entrance to the boxing live. So I think a perfectly reputable award is a fine way to kick them off.
Absolutely. I can thoroughly endorse that. I'm going for Dillian White, Gabe. I liked a couple of comments from him. First of all, sweating over how you would sell an Usyk fight with Usyk being a bum and Dillian being so high profile. How could you sell that to the fans? the guy who's just fought Derek Chisora for the second time on a pay-per-view. Also, he was talking about Benidorm. I don't even know where that is, but you need money to go to places like that. Dillian Whyte gets the vote for me. What do you think, Gabe?
There's so many good ones. I like Dillian. I like the pound for pound rankings. Those are fucking great. I don't know. I can't decide. I'll go with Dillian.
2 for Dillian, 2 for AJ. Maybe that's a sign. Maybe that's a sign they'll fight in April.
I like the AJ one too, so that makes it even worse. Can I flip?
Can you what?
Can I give my vote to GJ?
Of course you can. Of course you can.
I'm gonna go with that one.
There you go then, GJ. Congratulations on winning this week's Belly of the Week. We had a few more questions. Let's get the hell out of here. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. Good solid start to 2019. Check out our festive special if you need a bit more Nuthouse, where we dissected the Warrington-Frampton fight and also White Chisora, Charlo's and all that. It was me, it was Rob and Andy as well. Plus an end-of-year review dropping on the Facebook page at the end of the week and then on the YouTube as well. Cheated, not defeated. We'll be back live soon. Patreon.com/Boxing Asylum if you want to join us on a regular basis. Thanks to Andy, thanks to Gabe, thanks to Ozzy. Thank you to Rob Kelly, as always. And thanks to you for joining us. We'll catch you on Twitter during the week. I've been Steve Wellings. See you later. Bye.